Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Josh Guerrero, and I'm the host and founder of this podcast, which is simply titled the All Around Adventure Podcast. Whether you're joining me for the first time or if you've been listening to the podcast for a while now, I certainly do want to welcome you here. And as always, I want to thank you for being here today. I know you're busy, and I know there's a lot of crazy things happening in the world right now, but the fact that you chose to download and listen to this podcast or tune in to watch the video version of it on YouTube, I greatly appreciate it, and I certainly don't take it for granted. Now, if you are in fact new to this podcast and you're not entirely sure what we're all about here, is this show where you hear amazing tales from afar and get the all-important life lessons that go along with them. And I have an interview show where I talk with travelers of all kinds. I also have a solo cast called The Blog Readings. And I have this solo cast that you're listening to right now, and this is Your Wisdom Wednesday, where I talk for maybe about 5, 6, 7 minutes about a self-development topic or a travel topic of some kind and or both. And today what I want to talk about, as you probably saw in the title, is I want to talk about the key to immortality. Now, this comes from a quote from Bruce Lee. He once said, "The key to immortality is first living a life worth remembering." Now, there's a lot of ways that someone might interpret this quote, but how I personally interpret this quote is simply living life to the fullest. And I've talked about this a couple of times in previous episodes where I kind of look ahead. I look years and years and years and years and years down the line where I'm on my deathbed. And if I'm looking back on my life in that moment, almost to the end, what am I going to want to have to say for myself? Am I going to have to say, or will I end up saying, man, I really wish I had done more. I really wish, maybe I didn't play so safe. I really wish maybe I had done that or done this. Or would I want to look back and say, damn, it was one hell of a ride. Personally, I'm more in tune to do the latter later on in life. But ultimately, if what that comes down to is making the decisions to live life to the fullest and to, I guess, ultimately find immortality now. So what I want to talk about is just 3 things. I got 3 things that I wrote down here that I want to talk about that you can do to live life to your absolute fullest and ultimately seek immortality in the regards to this quote and how I'm, interpreting this quote. You might have a different interpretation, but that's how I interpret this quote, and that's how I'm kind of going to center this discussion around today. And I've been thinking about this more and more, especially with this whole coronavirus fiasco where, I'm kind of just stuck inside and I have a lot of things to think about. And ultimately, this whole thing is going to subside in the end. We're going to get things back to normal. It might take a while. It's really hard to say, and no one really knows what the hell is going on. But, ultimately we will get back to normal. We're going to beat this thing. Once this quarantine is lifted and we're able to get back out into the world again, I want to go over 3 things that you could do to live life to your absolute fullest and to seek immortality. And the first one that I want to talk about is taking risks. You've probably faced a lot of them in your life. They could be on small scales up to big, grander scales. A couple of small examples would be simply, let's say you see someone at the coffee shop that you take interest in, you want to go talk to, but you're nervous. Take that risk and go talk to that person. Otherwise, you'll probably think about it a little bit later on saying, damn, I really wish I went and talked to that girl who I thought was beautiful and I wanted to meet her, or something along those lines. And then also taking risks could simply involve going up to your boss and asking for a raise, or asking for a promotion that you think you might be worthy of. It's nerve-wracking to do those things because, again, maybe we're worried about rejection. Fear, the fear of rejection is pretty common amongst people, especially in this day and age. But pushing past those fears, and then ultimately going out and doing those things, you'll probably find that they weren't really as bad as you made them out to be. And then once you find out that, you really didn't have anything to be afraid of, then it'll become easier to do those things later on down the life. You kind of callous your mind a little bit, as David Goggins would say, when you overcome those fears and you take those risks and you find that you're more capable than what you might have realized. So the first thing towards towards the key to immortality is taking risks. Now, the next things that I want to talk about, and this kind of goes along the same lines as the first point, and all these 3 points I'm going to talk about today are going to align pretty well, and that is don't wait. Your time on this earth is limited. It's the clock is ticking. Since you took your first breath, the countdown started, and eventually that time is going to run out eventually. So don't wait to seize on opportunities. And I see this a lot. I see a lot of people say, well, I'll wait to travel once I no longer have any debt. Or I'll wait to travel once my kids turn 18 and they're out of the house, and then I can go do something. But once we wait, though, we find that some of the best years of our life have already passed us by. And then when we put things on hold, we'll say things like it's only going to be for a short period of time. Maybe it's only going to be for a couple of days. But what ends up happening a lot of the times is that a couple of days turns into a couple of weeks turns into a couple of months turn into years, and then eventually the thing you put on hold doesn't actually end up happening, or you never actually really go for it because you decided to wait. Because if there's something that you want to do or something that you want to achieve, there's a reason why you thought of that. There's a reason why this came to your mind, and that's why this kind of tapped your soul a little bit, is because it's something that that you really want. And there's never going to be a right time to pursue something or to do something in your life. The stars are never going to align perfectly. Life as it is just flat out imperfect. You're imperfect. Everyone's imperfect. So just go with what you have and just go and seize those opportunities just yourself. Some people, and again, it's not going to be perfect, as I keep saying. There's never going to be a right time to go out and start traveling the world. There's not going to be a right time to, get married, fill in the blank basically. So, but just don't wait to go and pursue what it is that you really want, because eventually that it's just going to pass you by. It's just going to go on. So, and that goes along, like I said, with taking risks. So ultimately, yes, don't wait for things that you want to do. There's never a right time to start anything. Just get started. Figure stuff out as you go. All right, and the last point that I want to talk about before I close out here is collect memories and not things. Because again, looking at the scenario of years down the line when I'm on my deathbed, I'm not going to reflect on stuff that I owned. I'm not going to think, oh man, I really loved having that car, or that big flat screen TV that I had. It was so awesome. It's going to be the memories that I've had and the experiences that I've had. I'm going to reflect on places that I've traveled to. I'm going to reflect on times that I spent with the people I care about, people that I love. Those are going to be the things that I'm going to be looking back on, with great nostalgia, not material stuff. Because a lot of times when I find, if I'm going through some things that I own right now, and this is especially the case when I came back from my time in the Gambia as a Peace Corps volunteer, I went through all the stuff that I had stored away, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, when did I get a lot of these things? Were these gifts to me? Did I buy these? How did I acquire these things? They may be fun in the moment, and I'm not sure exactly what this is called, but I know this is called something, but you're excited about something the moment you get it. Whether that's a brand new car or a brand new piece of tech or maybe even a brand new house. There's a lot of that shock and awe and excitement right in the moment, but eventually that wears out. It does wear out over time, and it kind of loses, I guess I'd say, value in your life. But experiences, memories, those things will live on. Those things will stand the test of time. Those are going to be the things that you're going to look back on, and you're going to want to tell other people and share in stories along the way. And a lot of times they could be misadventures too. I certainly tell a lot about my own misadventures. I tell about times where I've gotten exotic diseases while living abroad. I talk about times where, I had kind of awkward cultural exchanges in certain parts of the world. And I even talked about some of the dangerous times that I've had, like having to walk my way through a big giant protest and being in countries where some of the areas within that country were controlled by terrorist organizations. These are the stories that I want to tell people. I don't care to tell people about stuff that I owned. I mean, there's no excitement in that. And so that's why I always preach, collecting memories and experiences over material possessions. Those things are far more valuable down the line. Now, that's not to say that you can't have nice things, and I'm not preaching go and just get rid of all the stuff that you have. That's not really what I'm saying. I'm just really saying that once you do collect memories and experiences, you're going to find that those are going to be much more worthwhile in your life. All right, so just to recap, before I close out here with the points that I discussed today with finding the key to immortality. First one is taking risks. Second is don't wait, go and seize and capitalize on opportunities. And the last one is to collect memories instead of things. All right, y'all, I hope you enjoyed this little quick episode today. And actually, I'm going a little bit longer than my usual, but something that I think is really important to reflect on, especially, once we have this downtime that's kind of keeping us locked in, but eventually we're going to get out into the world yet again. So just some thoughts that maybe you can take with you as you go out into the world once this whole quarantine situation comes to a close, and you can go and you could seek immortality in your own life. All right, everyone. That's all I have to say on that. And just one thing I want to share by way of announcement, kind of part of how I'm seeking to find immortality in my own life, is I'm about to embark on an amazing experience. I'm heading down to South America in the next couple of months, hopefully, granted, to see how the state of things are when that happens. But I'm looking to walk 1,000 miles across Paraguay and Uruguay in South America, and I'm doing this to raise money for a nonprofit organization that helps veterans. It's called the American Veterans Archaeological Recovery, and what they do is they take veterans out in the field and out into the world to do important archaeological field work, and this does three things for veterans. Gets them reconnected with their tribe, their fellow veterans, gives them a new mission to protect cultural heritage, and it sets them up for success following their dig activities. And there is a GoFundMe that I have put together for this, and I'm not going to be seeing any of the money that comes in from donations to through this GoFundMe page. 100% of all donations go directly towards the American Veterans Archaeological Recovery, or AVAR. I'm self-financing the entire cost of this expedition. So any money that you do donate, you could be rest assured that it's going to go exactly towards where it's supposed to. And that is helping veterans find healing through field archaeology. And if you'd like to donate and support to the cause today, I know it's kind of an awkward thing for me to ask, because considering with what's going on right now, but you can head to gofundme.com/dualtrek. That is DUALTREK. And I thank you very much in advance for being willing to make your generous donation to help out veterans. And also, do feel free to share the GoFundMe page. This is a grassroots movement. I don't have a whole listing of sponsors or other benefactors or anything like that. This is just a grassroots movement. So I'm looking to cast a wide net here, so I certainly ask you for your help, not just with offering up a donation, but also sharing it with other people as well. And once again, that link is gofundme.com/dualtrek. All right, and that's all I have to say for now, and I'll be back on Saturday with another episode of the blog readings, so be sure to check back in. But until then, I'm Josh Guerrero saying be safe, happy travels, and always move forward.